Hi everyone, I'm Deirdra and this is my friend Luna, my lucky black cat, here to join us today on Friday the 13th. I've already given her lots of hugs and kisses, and so I'm immune to all bad luck today. One of the reasons why Luna is so lucky is she is actually, believe it or not, she's a feral cat. I caught in my raccoon trap, and she was in pretty bad shape with lots of fleas and mites and worms. Now look at her. She is just beautiful. Just beautiful. She still is pretty feral, and I know that she looks like she's tame here sitting in my arms, but she's still pretty jumpy around other people and doesn't come when I call her. The story I have for you today comes from the Apocrypha and takes place during the time of the reign of King Darius of Persia. There were 3 men who were tasked with guarding the king while he slept. So one night these guys, they're sitting around trying to entertain themselves, and they decide to have a battle of wits. They all knew the king valued wisdom, and they decided that they were each going to write a sentence about what they thought was the strongest thing in the world. When the king woke up, he was totally in on this idea. There also seems to have been a promise of some kind of reward because the young men started dreaming of a variety of riches and power that would be bestowed upon the winner. The king called all the princes of Persia, the governors, the captains, the lieutenants, and the chief officers, and gathered them together before the royal seat of judgment. The first young man who had seen the king fall asleep in a drunken stupor said that wine was the strongest. It affects everyone, the king, the bondman, the free, of the poor, and the rich. It affects people's emotions. It also makes people forget sorrow and death. However, wine makes people forget about their love for friends and family. It causes tempers to flare, and they draw out their swords in drunken rages. It's a very impressive answer. But the second young man came along and said that he thought the king was the strongest. He ruled over the seas and the land. He commanded men to go to war, and they willingly did so. They slay and were slain. And if they are victorious, they bring the victory and all the spoil to the king. The king also has subjects who plant fields and bring the harvest to him. They cut down and build and guard, and they do this all in the name of the king. Then the third young man came forward and said, yes, these 2 things are strong, but I have seen a group of people even stronger than the king, and that is the women. Men go to war, build, sow and reap, sail the seas, look into the faces of lions, go into the darkness, and more for the women that they love. Women have even given birth and raised up the king and all the subjects, including those who plant the vineyards where the wine comes from. If men gather gold or silver, they still love her and her beauty more. They will labor and toil and bring everything they have to her and become her servant. A man will leave his family and homeland just to be with the woman he loves. He agrees that the king is powerful and the leader of the strongest nation on the planet. However, he says, he saw the king with his lover. Her name is Apane, the daughter of Bartacus. If she ever became upset with the king would flatter her and do whatever he had to do to get on her good side again. The young man said that he watched Apane take the crown from off the king's head and put it on her own. Then she slapped him. All the while the king gazed upon her adoringly with open mouth and awe while she laughed. Remember, this is Darius, the same guy who threw people into the lion's den. Then before everyone could agree that women were the strongest, the third young man said he knew something even stronger than women. That is truth. The truth always comes out. The truth lives forever and never can be killed, no matter how wicked people may try to hide it, bury it, deflect, ignore, or cover it up. The truth always shines. In her judgment, strength, kingdoms, powers, and majesty, truth will always be the strongest because God is a God of truth. Then all the people of the court shouted, "Great is truth, and mighty above all things." The king told the third young man, "I will give you anything you ask as a reward for your wisdom." Instead of asking for a throne next to the king, power and riches, the young man asked for the temple at Jerusalem to be restored and all the sacred vessels to be returned. And the king immediately wrote letters to all the treasurers, captains, lieutenants, and governors that it would be done, and all the Jews were given freedom. Darius then declared worldwide that Jerusalem was a sanctuary for God's people, never to be disturbed. The young man who had asked for nothing for himself went out and praised God for all that was given him, including his wisdom, and he rededicated himself as a humble servant of God. This story has some great sister power acknowledgments. The young man could have asked for anything that would have set him up for life, but he took this opportunity to help God's people have their religious freedom restored. Instead of being cocky about winning this very public wager, he went someplace private and gave all the glory to God. So tell me what you think of Apane and the young man who gave tribute to the women of society.